Okay, so this is Toby Stimson. This is a message from Mysticwicks. I just wanted to show you my altar in a different kind of way than typing it out. So we're going to just go through and I'll show you what each of the elements are on here, what they mean, why they're placed in a certain way, and give you some background knowledge on them. So here we go. We'll just start at the front and start on the left. Okay, so generally Hindu altars will be set up in a certain way. There's several different styles that I've been able to find out. Generally, though, there are no universal rules, but there are general guidelines that certain groups seem to follow. So generally, just looking at the altar layout, we have different sections for each different deity. So I've laid it out so that Ganesh is there, Kali is over on the right hand side, and the Shiva as the main deity is enthroned in the middle. And so if you look at altar layout generally, you'll see kind of a similar pattern. You'll also see, and we'll explain that a little later on, that female elements seem to be on the right hand side and male elements seem to be on the left hand side. Why that is, I'm not too sure, but I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So we'll just start at the left hand side here. So this symbol right here, I'll just zoom in a little bit, is the Om symbol, probably the most recognizable Hindu symbol in the West. It represents the first sound of creation. That long Om sound is said to and believed to be the first sound that initiated creation, and so it's a recognizable symbol of Hinduism. Moving down, we have several things here. We have a peacock feather. Now, peacock feathers are look to be powerful symbols of wealth. They're also symbols of several different gods. For example, the war god Murugan, who is one of the sons of Lord Shiva. It's also recognizable as a symbol of Krishna, and Krishna is seen to be wearing one in his helmet, so he's recognizable by that. Moving along, we have several different images here. We have Lakshmi, who is the goddess of wealth, wife of Vishnu. And we have Hanuman, who is an avatar of Lord Shiva and also a devotee of Rama. Now, Lakshmi is seen to be this elegant, graceful goddess who at times bestows wealth, but also bestows knowledge as well. Hanuman, and I'll just bring this image closer so you can see it. He is basically representing the most powerful and most profound devotee. His devotion to his god was quite profound, and if we look closer at the image, in the center of his chest, you can't really see it, but in the center of his chest is an image of Rama, and he basically helped in the Ramayana by defeating Ravan, who was kind of the arch enemy at the time. Alright, moving along, we have several different images here. We have little necklaces. We have, of course, the Wiccan pentagram, which actually in Hinduism, the 5-point star represents Shiva. It also represents this kind of general idea of the 5 elements, so, you know, fire, earth, water, air, and ether. We have several medallions, so you can't really see that very well, but there is an image of Shiva, and on the other side is Shiva's yantra. It's a little blurry. My camera is not that good when it comes to close-up things. We'll just kind of zoom in there to see if it improves. We also have some little Shiva medallions. That's Shiva sitting in a yogic pose. Moving down, we have an Om necklace. We have this. Now, this is interesting. This can be worn as a necklace, but it's not necessarily just known as that. This is from Nepal, and it's rosewood, and it's called a mala. And I know a couple of you probably know what malas are, but for those of you who don't, I'll just kind of explain what it is. So a mala is used in Tibetan Buddhism, as well as Hinduism, and I believe Sikhism as well. And it basically is a string of beads, 108 beads long, with 109th bead being the guru bead. And you basically, it's just basically a rosary. You would go through and you would do japa, which is saying mantras over and over again. So it would be something like Om Namah Shivaya, 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 and so on and so on. And you go around. Now this is actually a Tibetan Buddhist mala, but you can use this, like I use it for Hindu japa. And so you would go around and you'd say it multiple times, and when you get to the very end of the string, instead of jumping over the guru bead, you would just go around and start all over again. So that is what a japa mala is, and very, very powerful Hindu ritual. You can basically do japa to go into, trance, or you can do it in devotion, or even if you're sitting on a plane, you don't have anything else to do. Alright, moving along. So I'll come to this before we start part 2. This is an ultimate Shiva symbol. We have here Rudraksha beads. So this is a Rudraksha mala. And Rudraksha beads, they're made out of the seed of the Rudraksha plant, which is a classic emblem of Shivism. And basically with these, it's interesting because Rudraksha is composed of the words Rudra and Aksha. And the reason they say that this is a plant of Rudra, which is another name and another form of Shiva, is because each bead has lines, or what they call eyes, and it can go up from 1 all the way to 11, 12, and so it's generally seen to be kind of symbolic of Shiva's third eye. We also have here now the general symbol, the lingam, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this or heard of this, but generally a lingam is very similar to what an omphalos stone is in Hellenismus. It's basically seen to be, well, a little different. In Hinduism, the lingam represents Shiva in his most abstract form, and so I have one here. It's actually composed of two symbols. The yoni, which is this, the base, I would guess, represents the female element. The actual stone sticking out here represents the male element and represents Shiva. And because it's so abstract and because it's so, it's just a piece of stone, people generally view this as Shiva in his impersonal form. And so whenever you have a Shiva temple, or in most temples actually, you'll probably see one of these. Now this is quite a small one, mostly used just for meditational purposes, but in larger ones you would generally have milk or some water poured over the base, and it generally represents from a story in, I believe, the Puranas, which states that when Brahma, who is the creator, and Vishnu, who is the preserver, were debating as to who was the better god, who was the more powerful god, Shiva, this powerful lingam, appeared before them, and it was Shiva, and each one, Brahma decided that he was going to go up, and Vishnu decided he was going to go down, and they traveled for 100 years each to figure out where the ending of this massive stone column appeared, that it had appeared before them, and they couldn't find it. And so this is, and I mean, we have to realize that this was the Shiva Purana, and the Puranas are sacred texts that are ascribed to 3 different kind of schools of thought. So this is a little bit propaganda-ish when it comes to, worshipping Shiva, but it still says some of the reasons why the lingam is such a powerful image. So the gods couldn't find the end of it, and they finally admitted that Shiva was the most powerful god, at least in that single Purana. I've accented it with a small Shiva statue here in his yogic pose. You can't really see it very well. And that concludes part 1. We will get to the other more powerful symbols very soon.